Welcome to the Strong Friend Podcast. We're here, you don't gotta be. I'm your host, Myko Glaze. So sit back, relax, and let's talk. What's up, everybody? I'm Myko Glaze, and welcome to the first episode of the Strong Friend Podcast. So, I'm going to call this episode Introductions Can Be Awkward. For obvious reasons, because it's the first episode, but also because in this episode, I'm going to take the time to introduce the podcast and the concept, as well as myself, to you. This is going to be the most awkward episode of the podcast because, introductions can be awkward. All right, so the Strong Friend Podcast. Why did I choose that name? One, I identify as a strong friend. I identify as a space where a lot of people find comfort, find goodness, and also they find strength. I'm not just your strong friend. I'm the friend that's going to tell you where to be strong and how to be strong in this thing. So I wanted to create a space for people who think like me, or people who don't have a strong friend or are the strong friend or want to understand how their strong friend stays so strong. This is going to be the space where you hear all of the thoughts that may exist in your strong friend's head, or, maybe not. Maybe you just want to laugh and chuckle with me. But yeah, this is the Strong Friend Podcast, and it has been my brain baby for a long time. So I decided today to press record and give birth. Know this episode won't be perfect, but I'll get better. It's definitely going to be awkward for like the next 4 minutes as I introduce myself formally. But I want to thank you for listening, as far as you have thus, you know, and yeah, hopefully you stick around. I got some things um, formulated and coming. I will say I don't know if this will wind up a video podcast. I enjoy listening to podcasts, and I'm very awkward on video and in person. So give me time to decide that, and maybe you'll grow with me, and we'll get there. But until then, this is how I'm gonna choose to do it, and I promise to do it good. Okay, so who am I? I am Myko Glaze. So I'm gonna break this down into spaces. First, I'm gonna tell you what I do professionally. Then I'm gonna tell you what I do creatively. And then after that, who knows? It may be the end. But here goes. So professionally, I am the owner and operator of Universal Hands and Organic Essentials by Universal Hands. Um, Universal Hands, I am a life and wellness coach as well as a massage therapist. I do spiritual wellness and artistic wellness specifically. So I work with people on their spiritual journeys, or just kind of meeting them where they are in spirit, to figure out what you need. I I help with like thought processes and things like that. I help people move through things, but usually people seek me out for when they need some spiritual understanding, and I'm okay with that. I also work in like a self perception, and I help people work on just organizing who you are on the inside. I used to be a big jumbled piece of paper myself, and I did some straightening. I did some work, and I became a life coach so that I could help people with that. but specifically spiritually, because I understand that a lot of things that was happening to my mind happened to my spirit first, and then it began to manifest outwardly. So, I help people find balance and things like that. I do Reiki work. I do um, sound healing, tarot readings. I do energy cleansings, things like that. I'm in Columbus, Ohio. If you ever just want to, you want a consult or a session, um, I also I do artistic wellness because I'm an artist. And because I'm an artist who has um, arted for a long time in a lot of ways. I understand that you have to maintain your relationship with your art and with your craft. And it's not just if you paint to sketch every day. Sometimes it's to explore how you feel about your content that you're sketching. Sometimes you have to explore how you feel about being the artist that you are. You know what I'm saying? Finding your identity, that's a lot. We as creatives create from spaces that can hurt, or we create as therapy without therapy. And you just want to make sure you're not transferring that energy to anybody and things like that. Also, establishing your boundaries with your craft, and as far as like your time goes, and your decision making on how to book it or when to book it, or just things like that. Determining when it's the job and not the job for you. I work with all artists, visual artists, performance artists. It does not matter. You can do chalk outlining. If you need me, I'm around. So yeah, that is Universal Hands. But I also have Organic Essentials by Universal Hands, which is my organic body and bath product company. That's where it starts. But there's also candles and jewelry, and I have a small apothecary and um just different things. It's all natural, all organic, all like food grade, cold pressed, um, spirit led. Uh, I'm not a spiritual Bible thumper or anything, but I don't do anything that my spirit doesn't agree with because I don't think it'll turn out right. So, yeah, all of my products are created originally by me by hand. And you can access all of my services and products at www dot the number one universalhands.com. That's www dot one universalhands.com. That's a plug. And no, it was not shameless because Universal Hands is the forever sponsor of the Strong Friend podcast. Okay, so me as an artist, what I do creatively, I am a writer, and that puts me in a lot of spaces and a lot of avenues doing a lot of jobs. So I write scripts. So I direct, I produce, I help come up with concepts for things. I do a lot of behind the scenes work, as well as on stage. I write songs, so I'm a singer and a poet, and as well as a producer. So that's my creative body of work. I work with a lot of artists locally. I'm available to work with people, nationally if you need me to. Uh, I got a couple of singles that I've dropped in this past year, 2025, and I got more to come, creatively and artistically, as Myko Glaze. So you can find me on anything there, Myko Glaze. So yeah, that was awkward. Introductions can be awkward, right? Do we agree? Yes. All right. Question for you. Why are introductions so awkward? What is it about you that makes you uncomfortable introducing yourself to someone? I know that for me, there is, I think it starts with being a middle child. I'm the middle of seven on one side of my family, and I never really got seen or heard unless I was like raising hell. So when I got out in the world and I was not taught properly at home, which is no fault to my parents per se, because, sometimes we do the best we can with kids that we know to do, right? So as adults, we have to do better with ourselves when we recognize that. And that has been my whole life mission. Just to kind of be good to me and, you know, do those things for me that didn't get done. So this is an opportunity for me to be heard. So, everything just transmutes. And I just want to make it all good again. Um, I attribute it to being a middle child and not really having the space to express myself unless, I was being, you know, behaviorally unsound. Let's just say that. I don't want to say bad, but being behaviorally unsound, and or like that's why I became a creative, because creativity has always provided me a space where I just had freedom, and I had a voice, and I had attention and things like that. So that's always been the way I replaced home life things. But I always coming up, I would always wait for someone to have an issue with who I was after I've introduced myself. Because a lot of times that has happened. Not every time, because I run into people who who love me, and it's like love at first vibe, right? But, historically it's been a way of like, just because I'm outspoken, I am I'm silly also. But then there are other factors, being in white spaces as a black man, or being in heteronormative spaces as a gay man. Um, Now in the world, I'm learning. Sometimes it can be awkward just identifying as a gay black man. All of that together, um, has a demographic of that's overlooked and unheard. But, here nor there, that's another episode. But I just always take introductions as like, when I'm especially reading energy, um, I'm always looking for, well, not now, but historically, I've always looked for someone to not like me and wait for the moment that they're ready to say it so that we can just get combative as hell about it. Um, and I think I'm thankful for the healing process, because over the years, and I'm 42 now, introductions have gotten less and less awkward, um, and which has made life a hell of a lot more fun, because I'm not afraid to meet people. I don't mind um, meeting people. This episode is definitely probably the most awkward introduction I've ever had, but I'm glad that it's happening in a space where I'm alone and I'm comfortable. And so I've learned not to be alone and comfortable all the time, but but I've learned to be comfortable in myself, so that when I meet people, their feelings about me don't make me uncomfortable. I I always tell people my anxiety is attached to a control issue, because if I can't shape the way you see me or the way things are gonna go, I've always crashed the hell out. And so I've been trying to do my best not to approach life with that. And then it has definitely worked out for me. And I'd advise anybody to say, to think that way, like don't assign people their emotions in life, period, but don't assign them a negative emotion about you. I assign joy wherever I go. I assign joy to the room that I'm on my way to before I get there, so that I'm met with that joy. I'm met with that goodness. Um, it's a fundamental goodness. A smile is is it's very valuable. Like those raised eyebrows that come with it, very valuable. And if you hand it out first instead of expect it first, you'll get it back. So that has definitely made introductions a lot less awkward face to face. I'm an awkward person, so it might get weird, but it doesn't start weird. And, once I got a hold of that, it made things a hell of a lot easier for me with introductions, So when you think about why introductions are so awkward for you, factor that in. What do you think before you have to meet people? Like there are people that be like, I hate meeting new people. And then you go and you meet new people and you're the life of the party, or you make the room what it is, or all of those people are like tribe and vibe for you. You don't want to send the negative energy first. You want to actually send the positive vibes first. Instead of expecting the positive vibes to be made for you, create them, send them ahead of you, and then show up and exist in them. Because you have that power, you have that dominion, you know? You do. Uh, I preach every 2 days to somebody. But introductions do not have to be awkward. They can be awkward, but they definitely don't have to. With that said, thank you for listening to the very first introductory episode of the Strong Friend Podcast. I am Myko Glaze, and I hope to meet with you next time. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in to the Strong Friend Podcast. Like, comment, subscribe, and follow us on all social media.